A policeman in riot gear detained a protester outside Hong Kong Polytechnic University, as police stormed the Kowloon campus early Monday. Photo, Kin Chung, Associated Press by John Lyons. John Lyons, The Wall Street Journal biography at Lyons notes John Lyons at WSJ.com. Dan Strumpf, The Wall Street Journal biography at Dan Strumpf. Dan Strumpf at WSJ.com. Natasha Khan, The Wall Street Journal biography at Natasha Khan. Natasha.Khan at WSJ.com. Updated November 17, 2019, 8:23 p.m. Eastern Time, Hong Kong. Large fires burned at a university here early Monday as police threatened lethal force and advanced on a group of increasingly militant pro-democracy activists armed with makeshift weapons who have occupied the campus for days. Protesters inside the campus of Hong Kong Polytechnic University hurled Molotov cocktails as police tried to storm the grounds early Monday. The entryway and areas around the university's perimeter were quickly engulfed in flames. One protester, shown on live video, was seen firing an arrow at the officers. In some of the fiercest clashes since protests began in the Chinese-ruled city 5 months ago, police used on Sunday water cannon blasts, tear gas and beanbag rounds against students who started a massive fire on a bridge, shot a police officer in the leg with an arrow and set fire to an armored car. As the fighting continued, police said they would fire their guns if attacked by people. Police Superintendent Louis Lau described as cold-blooded rioters. "We will have no other choice but to use the minimal force necessary to address the situation, including real bullets," he said. In a video recording addressing protesters that was released Monday morning, University President Jin Guangtang said the university had negotiated a temporary ceasefire to allow protesters to leave PC. The confrontation capped a week of violence that has marked a significant shift in the struggle, with the core of college and high school-aged activists driving the unrest, now stockpiling makeshift weapons and adopting more aggressive tactics in an effort to maintain the movement's momentum. Police fired tear gas at pro-democracy protesters outside Hong Kong Polytechnic University on Sunday. Photo, Jerome Favre, Shuttershock. "We don't want to fight a war, but we have no choice," said an activist manning the barricades at the university over the weekend, a 16-year-old high school student wearing a black balaclava and protective goggles who gave his name as Quentin. "We want freedom, human rights." Police have responded with escalating force, shooting 3 protesters since the protests began. In a highly symbolic act on Saturday, unarmed Chinese soldiers stationed in Hong Kong departed their barracks to clear road debris left by protesters, sparking fears of intervention. Meanwhile, Hong Kong's pro-China leader Carrie Lam has remained out of sight in recent days as turmoil deepened. For months, the prospect that China could deploy its army to quash the unrest has hung over the city. Last week, China's leader, Xi Jinping, personally exhorted Hong Kong authorities to restore order, fueling speculation of a down. A protester's umbrella caught fire during clashes with police outside Hong Kong Polytechnic University on Sunday. Photo, Adnan Abidi, Reuters. The increasing violence, including viral images of a worker set on fire while arguing with protesters on November 11, also stands to deepen rifts within Hong Kong society about protest tactics. Several days spent at Hong Kong Polytechnic University and Chinese University of Hong Kong offered stark evidence of the transformation reshaping the dynamics of the protest movement. Instead of chanting slogans, protesters massed weapons. Instead of creating wall art, they built fortifications. Protesters described their use of Molotov cocktails and other weapons as self-defense against aggressive police tactics. They complained their movement has run out of peaceful options such as marches, permits for which the government now routinely denies. Many said they were pressing forward even though they believe they aren't likely to achieve their current demands of universal suffrage and an independent inquiry into police violence. The Hong Kong police force released a photo of an officer who was shot with an arrow on Sunday. Photo, Associated Press. Police said they have used a minimum of force during months of unrest. Meanwhile, videos of arrests that end in beatings are rife on social media. On Sunday, clashes started in the morning and extended into Monday. Police said a media liaison officer was hit in the calf by an arrow on Sunday afternoon, adding that the attack posed a grave threat to the safety of everyone at the scene. The officer was taken to a hospital and was conscious, police said. Shortly after 11 p.m. on Sunday, police began pushing toward barricades built by protesters near the entrance to a tunnel that links Hong Kong Island to Kowloon, where the Polytechnic University is located. The tunnel has been closed for days, after student protesters blockaded it and set its toll booths on fire. Debris still litters the roadway. "We're surrounded now," said a Hong Kong Polytechnic student, who gave his name as Tam. He said he had been inside the fortified campus since last Monday. China's People's Liberation Army troops made a rare appearance outside one barracks on Saturday to remove roadblocks and other debris left by protesters, raising questions about the Chinese military's future role in the city. Photo: Chris Chang, AFP. Getty. Hundreds of protesters sheltered behind a tangle of desks, chairs and tables, squaring off with police in the darkness. Several held Molotov cocktails, while another group carried a giant slingshot. Last week, activists stockpiled firebombs at the university and constructed roadblocks from debris and masonry to prevent police vehicles from approaching. They posted lookouts and required visitors to produce identification with border guard dressed in black and wearing body armor. Hundreds of protesters converged at Polytechnic in recent days, the last holdout of a group of universities occupied last week. The first violence of the week erupted overnight Tuesday at the Chinese university in a rural northern territory of Hong Kong, one of several fortified that week. Students there engaged police for hours in a fiery battle at a narrow bridge, and real-time images of the fight attracted hundreds of young demonstrators to the scene. Protesters used a slingshot to launch bricks at the police from inside the Hong Kong Polytechnic University on Sunday. Photo: Anthony Wallace, Agence France Presse. Getty Images. One was a 17-year-old high school junior with round eyeglasses who arrived clad in his school uniform. He had been at a chemistry tutoring session when he saw images of the fights and raced there with a younger friend. Both had recently completed first aid classes to act as medics. "We came to fight for our freedom," he said. The protests, initially triggered by a now-withdrawn extradition bill, have turned into an anti-government movement focused on alleged police brutality and China's increasing encroachment. The stakes are high for Hong Kong, a former British colony that was returned to Chinese sovereignty in 1997. As part of the handover agreement, Hong Kong was supposed to remain a semi-autonomous city under the one country, two systems regime until 2047. A down by Beijing could spell the end of Hong Kong's autonomy and dilute its role as a global financial hub. Protesters shield themselves from a blue-dyed liquid sprayed from an armored police vehicle in Hong Kong on Sunday. Photo: Ahmed Ibrahim, Associated Press. The saga represents a black eye for China, too, which is embroiled in a bitter trade war with the U.S. and facing increasing scrutiny around the world for its detention program targeting ethnic Uyghurs and other Muslims in Xinjiang. The Civil Human Rights Front, and